Hey, bingo, here we are. We're having a beautiful spring day here in Massachusetts. Welcome everybody from around the world to CCTV, Cambridge Community Television, the #1 community cable station in the nation of the United States. Hey, so many people love watching this from around the world. There's so many comments that are sent in to our studio professionals declaring how wonderful the viewing is here and the stories as well. Today we have the one and only Elena Nava. She is here today. She is from Russia. She's a Russian teacher of great music, piano music. She's also a great teacher involving the fine art of Russian language. And you can have Russian as a second or a third language. It'd just be outstanding. It'd be wonderful. Not only does she teach you piano at her studio office, she also teaches Russian at the same time. What a deal. What a deal. Thank you, Elena, for coming on.
My pleasure.
Peace and love to you, Elena. And she brought one of her best friends here today, Richard. Richard has a question he wants to ask Elena about something involving one of her aspects of life is jewelry, and she's also involved with being a professor of art history. So, Richard, would you like to ask the lovely Elena a question?
Yes, I would. Elena, the question I want to ask you, I know you have a lot of background in history of jewelry. What is the oldest period of jewelry? How far back does actual jewelry go?
Well, if we were talking about the masterpieces, we actually will be counting from ancient Egypt. But of course, the jewelry itself was known from much earlier period. Even in the time of Stone Age people, the female and male tried to put a different type of attractions, which is turn from stones to metal, from bones to metal, and become a prettier and prettier every century.
Interesting. Now, when did you first show an interest in jewelry?
Well, I was interviewed in Moscow once for the famous magazine called Soviet Woman by that time, and they asked me how I ended up to do study and research in jewelry. And I think for some point it was because I was born in Central Asia, in Tajikistan, and my house where I grew up was not so far from the street called Zargar, which means in Persian or Tajik, or Tajiki, as you pronounce right now, a jeweler. So, and when I was in college at Moscow State University, I was supposed to make a decision what field I will be writing my thesis. And our, I'd say, counselor at this point, she introduced me to a person who was doing a lot of excavations in Central Asia. And she introduced me to the person, Professor Stavisky, who asked me, what your interests are? And I said, well, I like the history of architecture. I like architecture itself. I like jewelry, and I like costume. So he gave me some homework. He said, go and do some research. What's the most publication on what subject? And take the one which is have a least publication and research. And that's how I end up with a history of jewelry.
Interesting. Now, some people will wonder, is there any power in stones, in metals? We know that there's power in sunlight, we know there's power in water, and we know there's power in gasoline, because you only can go so far in those old-fashioned automobiles we possess. But what about in your study as in the art history of metals and stones? Is there any benefits from having a stone hanging on our neck or having metal on us?
Well, first of all, we know that all stones itself a collection of chemicals and some powerful kind of a combinations, which is really did help. And it was a big book was written by medieval scientist Biruni, who wrote about power and healing by stones, with stones. And even right now you probably see some ads about healing with stones. You go and get a stone massage.
Stone massage? I never
Yes.
heard of stone massage.
Oh yes, yes. You
What's
can-
that? What's that all about?
Different stones collect a different energy from the nature, and some people are more leaning towards the stones, certain color, certain shape. So sometimes you can go to the beach and you just go in and you pick up some kind of rock, and it's look very nice to you. You touching, you holding, and you feel comfortable. So means you getting some energy from this stone, and obviously you have some connection with this stone.
Now, let me ask you a goofy question.
Sure.
Now, I have a stone. I pick it up at the beach.
Yeah.
And I give it a massage.
Yes.
It's my buddy now.
Well, if in the humorous way, yeah. But at the same time, we're talking more and more about if you go in a forest and you found a tree, kind of you feel attraction to that tree. Just go and hug that tree because
Wow.
you get an energy from that tree.
I've heard of this before.
Yes.
This
So
is
it's
exciting.
the same about
So if I
the
lose my
stones.
girlfriend, I can always depend upon a tree, it seems, to give me a
Well,
hug.
Yes. I'll give you a hug for yourself by yourself. Yes. So, and of course, people were giving a different type of stones, different meanings according to their culture. But at the same time, if you see the pearl, and it's a white stone most of the time, then your first impression about purity, your first impression about cleaning, because it's white. So, and of course, it's connected to the moonlight. That's the other association. And that's how people were giving those type of description or condition to put into the stones.
Now, there's the diamond, the famous diamond, probably
Right.
the most famous stone in the whole world.
Right.
Does it have any power in it?
Well, the diamond power, it's made up power by human beings. Of course, if we will look through the geology, it's a very strong stone.
On
And
the
of
crystal, on the,
course,
excuse me, on the crystal level, it's a form of crystal, it appears.
Right, and depends how jeweler will work on the stone. It's given more light and it's absorbing light, and through the different type of angles, it's given the beautiful colors. But in generally, it's not an expensive that it shows itself in a store. So, and people made this story because we're not familiar with diamond until the late period, the period of maybe Napoleon Empire or so.
Now, the birthstones in America, I should say the United States, the birthstones in the United States, are they different from the birthstones in other cultures?
Well, certain cultures introduce different type of stones with, for example, in the Jewish culture, for certain stones and months will be different connections, not exactly as the same as the European, for example. And each country has their own birthstone, just like America has birthstone.
Really?
for
I never knew
itself.
this.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, and it's like my birthday, for example, in September, and it's giving you a variety of different stones connect to these months. And I didn't dig much deeper to realize why that certain stones connect to this particular months, because sometimes it doesn't give enough clear explanation. But people kind of going close to that, and sometimes they just stick with that explanation they probably met once, and they decided, okay, this is my birthstone. For example, the aquamarine for a March.
For everyone that's watching the show today, we have a free pass to visit Elena Neva and she will be at the Medford Public Library. For what good reason? What good reason would you be at the library
Right.
for?
It will be a book presentation. It's my second book published in English, and it's called Jewelry of Central Asia, where I was trying to cover chronologically a larger period than it was in my first book, which was published in Russian, The Art of Ancient Jewelers. And I think it was kind of a significant moment at this point, because in June, the Metropolitan Museum of Art will be having an exhibit of ancient treasures from Afghanistan, which is I actually used for my research as one of the masterpieces of ancient jewelry. It's called Bactrian Gold, or Gold from Tiliatepet. So if you come to my lecture presentation, you will be seeing a slideshow, and it will be May 5th at 7:30 p.m. at Medford Public Library, which is located on a high street.
And for anyone who would be interested in writing down this phone number, it's a phone number to the library at 781-391-7950. Once again, 781-391-7950. And I'll be reiterating all of this a little bit later in maybe about 10 minutes. So, Alina, this is fabulous. You know, I always wondered about pearls, you know. Is the pearl in the stone family?
Yes, we actually consider pearls as stones, and in the jewelry world is applied as a stone. We know it's a kind of a sea creature some point, but it's ended up to be as a stone. It's the same with amber. We know that the amber, it's actually wax, which is collected from the trees a million and years and then become as a stone. So, and we have information about, for example, a pearl as well, that it was used as a medication. And now in England, they put a lot of effort to study deeper about the power and a real medical treatment of powder of different type of stones, include pearl.
Including pearl, amazing. Before you know it, folks, we're going to be living a lot longer, I think.
We will.
You know, we may live as long as a pearl of necklace of pearls. You never know. So going into gold now, are there any people in the world that eat gold or eat silver? I mean, I know over here we eat a lot of vitamins and mineral supplements, but I don't hear much about eating gold over here.
Well, actually, when you use the utensils made of silver and gold, that already was kind of the antiseptic protect your health. And in India, traditionally, in the market, you can meet some people who sit right in the ground, and they made those thin sheets of gold and silver plates. Then you can put in your mouth and it just melt inside, because of course it's coordinated with your temperature of the body. And that's how you protect yourself with this antiseptic. We know our body contains metals and minerals. So, and we need some gold and silver inside.
Of course, like, you know, look at the word gold. Inside the word gold, you have God. We got God inside us, and I have a little gold inside us as well, you know. Do you have another question, Richard? Not yet. You think about it, Richard. We're going to come back to you in a moment. Now, folks, we're going to bring you over to the overhang again, and there it is, a lecture by Elena Niva, and it's going to be Tuesday, May 5th at 7:30. It'll be great. You get to meet Elena, you know, and there's going to be a book signing too?
Yes, of course. I will be signing my book, my second book, and it will be discount price.